Well,
Okay.
welcome everybody. You're listening to In the Company of Charity podcasts. My name is Sister Liz Schoberg, and I'm here with my friend Sister Elizabeth. Welcome.
Hi, Sister Liz. It's good to
Wait,
be with you.
hey, we're in the same state, by the way, which is
We
cool.
are. We totally are. I am in San Antonio, Texas, at a program called For Mission. It's run by the Religious Formation Conference, and it's for kind of newbie formators. Not all newbies, though. I mean, there's some here been here for a long time, but it's people who work with novices, seminary sisters like myself.
Mm.
And it's just, yeah, it's good, good to meet other people who are doing what you're doing because it's a kind of lonely job. Um, it's very different.
And
So
I would
yeah,
have
so
come
I've
to
been here
see you, but I was a little busy.
a little bit busy. So tell us about your busy. I was in marathon meetings, but you were in like a marathon.
A legit marathon. I ran a marathon,
Wow.
friends, and it was a fundraiser for Proyecto Juan Diego, and we may surpass $19,000 in fundraising for
Wow.
the agency. That's pretty
Awesome. That's
cool.
good. So anyone listening,
Get us to
that's
20,
Proyecto
would
One.
you?
Get
Can we
us to
get to 20?
20.
I
You
don't
can
know.
do it. You can do it, folks. I know you can do it. You can make it happen.
But it was
So this
it
was yesterday. This was
at
yesterday?
the time of this recording,
Yeah.
I ran a marathon yesterday and I'm still alive. It took me
Yeah.
5 hours and 37 minutes, and
Wow.
it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the best of times. It
All right. Well, at least we end up on the best of times.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
good.
it was
Yeah.
wild. We had a police escort the entire time, which was
Wow.
crazy, on an ATV. He was stopping traffic for us. He was like doing all this stuff. I had accompaniment the entire time. There was not one moment where I didn't have somebody running with me, and two guys who ran the full marathon with me. Ruben and John, both of them ran the full marathon with me. Um,
Wow.
and we had our Jesuit friends who ran the second half with
Oh,
me. Those guys, just a
Jesuits on the Border podcast.
yes,
Yeah. They're just the greatest guys. And they ran too?
they ran too. And they
All of
told me
Harlingen was running.
everybody had to tell their life story because that's how we passed the time as we were running. It was so great.
That is great because if I were running a marathon, I would not be able to speak, let alone tell my life story.
They had to tell it to me. I didn't have to tell my life story, thank God.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, thank God. Because I would be like, I cannot speak and run. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
can't run, but I certainly cannot speak and run. That just wouldn't
no.
happen.
It was
And
it
we had
was
other
really great.
sisters. We had other
Yes.
sisters running across the country, correct?
Yes. So here in town, it was myself and Sister Carissa did her 5K. So that was cool. And then two sisters from the province of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. So out west, Sister Georgina in Phoenix, Sister Jessica in Los Angeles. And then we had Sister Bella and Sister Mary Shea. And who am I missing? There's one other sister. But yeah,
Oh,
we had Daughters of Charity running all over the US. And it was really cool just to be in solidarity with those folks. So what a
oh,
gift.
congratulations. What a
Thank
great thing. So yeah. So definitely, if you're so inclined, check out Proyecto Juan Diego and help Sister Liz get to 20. And if we hit 20, let's do 21,000.
I
But
mean,
let's try to make
we
it.
don't want to push our luck
Let's try
here.
to make it to 20. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
And
great. That's
so if
great.
you're listening and you donated or you followed us and learned about this effort that we did, thank you so much for your support. It was a blast and unforgettable experience.
Wow.
So,
In Daybreak in Georgia, one of my favorite places in Macon, Georgia, they're having the sleep out.
yes, okay.
The Daybreak from dawn to dusk sleep out. And I was thinking, wow, I was thinking about you running your marathon fundraiser, Daybreak, sleeping out fundraiser. I miss that stuff, like
Mm.
I'm not in that right now. I'm in a different kind of marathon and a different kind of sleep out. But yeah, so it was really exciting to read about and see the video and see you were on the news. That was great. And
Yes, it
see what's
was.
happening in Macon. I mean, it's just so amazing what our sisters are doing and how we're doing things together. So it's really beautiful.
Inventive to infinity, as St. Vincent
Absolutely.
told us to be. So that's
That's
what we're
right.
doing.
That's right. That's great. That's
But we
great.
don't want to keep you guys too long. We want you to hear this interview from Sister Felekech from Ethiopia. She's a great sister, and we heard last week a little bit about International Project Services, and one of their top priorities at this point is to work on water issues in the world, throughout the world, and one of them is what Sister Felekech is doing out there. And so, what a cool interview! I think it's going to be great.
I just enjoyed speaking with her so much. She was so humble herself and so humbling. Like listening to her and what the sisters there in Ethiopia and other developing countries are facing. It's really amazing. It's so amazing. And so just the idea of water being so unavailable, and how she has been able to work with International Project Services, Daughters of Charity. It's just amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you'll enjoy it, I'm sure.
And don't miss
And
the end. She kind of just throws this in offhand, and you could miss it if you're not listening, but she talks about some of their houses that are disconnected from the province because of
mm,
war that's going on. And I'm like, how is that even possible? For
yeah, well,
houses
it's
that they
very
just don't have contact with.
yeah, it's such an eye opener, the whole interview. And I think sometimes we think we understand, we think we know what's going on in other countries. We listen to BBC or whatever news we listen to, and we think we're informed. And then you talk with someone like her who's just out in the midst of it, but doing what Daughters of Charity do. They just see the need and they stick with it and they stay there. But and around them is so much more happening, and they're responding to that as well, or they're in the midst of it with everybody else. It's not like we're somehow protected from the war and the troubles that are around. And when she mentions these sisters, yeah, I can't imagine like being in St. Louis and not being able to contact another house. It
Mm.
just doesn't make any sense. But we just don't always have a sense of what's happening in the rest of the world. And this was just such an eye opener, and just gave me a real clear picture of just the courageous and honorable work our sisters do around the world, really around the world. And she's the first, but we hope that we'll have other sisters, and from that Sister Mary Louise Stubb will connect us to through IPS, so you can hear more about the work being
Yes.
done by the Daughters of Charity International Project Services.
Yep. So enjoy the interview, and keep following us. We're on Instagram at Company of Charity podcast, and then also at our Gmail account, companyofcharity@gmail.com. Keep in touch and do share this link or screenshot it to anyone in your life who you feel like would benefit from knowing, because these are important issues going on in the world, and we're happy to bring some of this content to you. Enjoy.
I am Sister Elizabeth, and I am here today with Sister Felekech of the province of Ethiopia. Correct, Sister?
Yes.
Yes. And so Sister is here today to talk with us about a project that she's involved in, but also all of the other things that she does. We know that many Daughters of Charity wear many different hats, not just the coif of the communities, but also other hats of leadership and ministry and other things. So Sister Felekech is a Daughter of Charity, and she's working with the Daughters of Charity International Project Services. And for those of you who have been following our podcast since the early days, back in June 4th of 2019, we interviewed Sister Mary Lou Stubbs, who is the director of this program. And its intent is to help serve as the fiscal agent for projects around the world of Daughters of Charity who are living in low-income or no-income countries where they would have difficulty finding resources for their ministries. And so this nonprofit, the Daughters of Charity International Project Services, what we call IPS, helps to connect sisters and projects involved in the community throughout the world with funding sources that would help their projects move forward. So Sister is going to talk with us about those projects today. I welcome her today. We've been trying to get this together for a while, and many different things get in the way. Zoom is great for international connections, but timing and all those things take a little while. So Sister Felekech, we welcome you to the podcast today. And I'm just so excited to have you here, to have this conversation get started. We started a little bit where I just simply asked you, what have you been doing? And you do a lot. So Sister, can you tell us about where you are right now located, as well as what you're engaged in, and then lead us into how you got involved with the water project that you're going to tell us about in your province, connected to the IPS program.
Thank you, Sister Elizabeth, and thank you for having me on this podcast. I really am very happy to be here. I am Sister Felekech, and I am a daughter of charity based here in the Provincial House of the Daughters of Charity in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa. I have been a daughter of charity since 1993. It's already 29 years since I became a daughter of charity. And from the provincial house, the only time I was away was for 5.5 years to be a sister servant in one of the missions in the countryside. And then 10 years ago, I was brought back here to the provincial house to be a sister servant of the house, at the same time to be provincial secretary and provincial councillor. So I had a lot in my hands, but it is working in the vineyard of the Lord, always the Lord helps. So it has been a great pleasure to be working in the vineyard of the Lord, and especially in the service of the poor. All the time the Lord helps, and I believe in his guidance and help. How did I know international project services? When I was brought back to the provincial house 10 years ago, the provincial asked me if I would mind to work as a project director or project coordinator of the IPS projects. So I was I was automatically made the director to link the IPS with our sisters and their projects. So I was helping here, based in the office. I could get the sisters and could always help them to bring in projects, proposals, to be able to send it to Sister Mary Louise, who always was ready to help us. Always she did, always she had somehow the providence of God providing it for her. Whatever project we sent into IPS never failed, except very, very few, which she could, not be able to find, like for cars and things like that. It's very difficult, except even she found us cars, of course. Except for that, most of the projects we looked funds for were provided with financial help. So this time in the provincial house, in the same compound, we have a school called St. Mary's Catholic School from kindergarten to 12th grade. And this school has over 1,800 children in the school, plus the workers 135 plus sometimes. And at the back of the house, also of the provincial house, we also have a laboratory where people gonna come and get laboratory services. This place used to be a clinic, but because of the limited space we have, finally it was requested by the government to downgrade. So we only give laboratory services. In that laboratory services, we would serve rather, over 5,000 people per year. And all these facilities needed water, running water. So the public water that comes through the tap only comes once a week. And we always looked for containers, and we always looked for water tanks and tanks after tanks to collect water, which comes once a week. And that never was enough. So there are times when we would buy water from lorries, lorries with water tanks would go around the town to be able to sell water. And then one full tank would be over 3,500 Ethiopian birr. It's about 52 birr a dollar. That's how it calculates. So we would spend that amount of money almost every day. And it had been very, very difficult. So if you check any information about Addis Ababa, water problem is a huge, huge problem. Like water coming once a week is just not nice. So that is how it had been. And then we really needed to develop water well. And after having a conversation amongst ourselves, how we could get, this project, then I finally approached Sister Mary Louise, and we wrote a project proposal, and she was kindly able to find funds for us, which helps us to develop a water well. Now, this clinic, laboratory rather, and the school have running water 24 hours now, 24 hours. Including that, we also have the provincial house in the compound, as I mentioned earlier, and there are about 20 plus sisters in the compound. And we also are benefiting from that water well. So this water had been a big blessing. And we always, whenever we open taps, we always say, God bless IPS. God bless, God bless IPS.
Yeah, I think we have to be realistic that many of our listeners to the podcast are coming from the United States. And so to not have access to water 24 hours a day, we just don't even understand that, to be perfectly honest. I mean, some of the poor areas of our country may have some water issues of access, and it may be that we have issues around. There've been, areas in Detroit and other areas, Flint, Michigan, that had water that was contaminated, but we always have a sense that we can fix this. We can get bottled water. The extremity of how extreme this was for you, I think is something we really have to let sink in a little bit, that you were having water brought in, sold to you each week, and then you had to go buy more water each day. And then a simple well, maybe not so simple, but a well provided with funding that you were able to access through IPS has just changed, it sounds like, the ministry.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, not having water and running a school, you just cannot even think of that.
No, I can't. It's just so difficult.
Yeah, imagine of toilet with no water.
Yeah.
That is how it had been. There are times when we would be obliged to close the school because the children do not only have water to drink, but there is no water to flush the toilets. There is no water to wash the classrooms after the class is finalized. So it has been quite difficult. It has been very difficult, in fact. And after we got this water, it's like, life changed overnight. We can garden, we can have flower garden in the compound of the school. We have a small garden where we water every time. Our compound is all the time washed. Our school classrooms are always washed. Administration place is always washed now. And children do not have a problem of drinking water now. Children do not have a problem of flushing the toilets now. It's like heaven, honestly. It's like heaven. The change is unbelievable. When there is no water in the school, children, the way they let the school administration understand that they really are in trouble is they start to shout, no water, no water, no water. Everybody repeats that, and the whole place would be in chaos. So now, none of that is there, like life is so smooth. You just open a tap and there is water. It's magic. It's magic, honestly.
It's like magic. Yeah, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
And it's the generosity. We just, the generosity of funders and people who are concerned with the conditions of the way other people are living, and this expectation that we would have water. It's so fundamental to our existence. And I'm just thinking, you at the beginning, you said you had 1,800 students. I just can't imagine.
It's like a miracle. Every time, whenever we open the tap, there is water, is a big relief. And for teaching learning process, one of the basic necessities, I believe, is water. And having that, to be able to provide that, to be able to have access to that daily is a blessing, is a great blessing. And sometimes, like the teachers or the school administration would say, tomorrow school will only be half a day because there is no water, or we have run out of water sometimes. Now, such a hassle is out of the way. All the time there is water running. All the time children can have access to water. All the time they can have clean toilets. Can you imagine with all those children when there is no water for the toilet? The whole place would be messed up. Now everything is under control. It's like, honestly, like in Addis, still people are suffering around our areas even. And when people do not have water, we have water all the time, means is a great blessing. We always say it is a miracle that we have water. This water came at the right time. Imagine the water came and the coronavirus started to spread. And for the laboratory to be able to have water in the compound, people coming into the compound, washing their hands, people going into the compound, washing their hands, and to be able to have access to water was like, honestly, like a miracle. It's a great blessing.
It's so, it just really is very heartening to hear of the impact that this project, both that IPS has been able to have, and just the connection of the Daughters of Charity together. That we are an international company. We are not. We don't just see our own space and our own time, but to realize that we are women called to be of service to the world. And so connecting each other through IPS is really a way in which we can say the work of the Daughters of Charity is not just the work that's in front of me. Well, that's important, but it is the work of all the Daughters of Charity throughout the world. And so I just feel very privileged in this conversation to know, that the work that you're doing is impacted by the work that Sister Mary Lou Stubbs is doing, and that connection, that sense of community with one another, our common cause, our common mission, the urgency of the mission to be of service to those who are suffering, those who are living in poverty, goes across borders. There are no borders in the work of the Daughters of Charity, right? And so I just appreciate so much your time with us today. Are there any other needs that we can put before our listeners to pray for? We have a lot of sisters listening. We have so many just really dedicated, wonderful people who want to know how they can help. And while they may not be able to go out and give, or they may not be able to get out there to help you, how can they, what are the projects, or what are the services, or how would you want us to join you in prayer so that more miracles can happen for the work that's happening at the Provincial House?
Now we have peace issue in our country. For that, I would like people to pray for the peace of Ethiopia to begin with. And now there is peace talks deal coming, and hopefully it will get through. I would like everybody to pray that it works. When it works, we will have to connect to our sisters who are in the 4 houses cut off in Tigray. When we get to them, we will be able to, when we will be able to communicate with them, we will be able to find out what their problems are. Like, surely they are stuck in many ways. Their clinics need to be able to run, their schools need to be able to run, and they will need food for those who have been stuck there, who are hungry there. So there will be many needs which we will eventually, in the project proposals, in the name of emergency, we will be appealing and approaching IPS. And I hope whoever will be listening to this will be able to disseminate the information that we really are in need of, funds for emergencies when we will be able to get connected to the sisters, to the noise.
Yeah. So we pray almost every day. I know in our province, we think often of the sisters and pray for their safety. Yeah. So we will definitely pray for peace in Ethiopia, for the safety of the sisters in the Tigrayan area, for the works that they're doing, and for you and the sisters in the Provincial House, and all of the children and all of those who come to you for services. I still can't imagine 1,800 children and no water. So thank God for that miracle. Thank God for your service and your work. I think often when we're interviewing sisters, what are St. Louise and St. Vincent thinking as we see the works of their charism, of the spirit of St. Vincent and Louise expanding throughout the world and touching the lives of those who are so desperately in need of life-giving services, the life-giving waters of our good and gracious God. So thank you so much for your time. And I hope that we can have you on another time. May it be at a time of peace in your country.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Have a great evening, sister.
The same to you. Have a blessed evening, you too.
Okay.
Thank you very much.